Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in today. I have a nice little review for you guys. This is the Minichamps SLS GT3 in 1/18th scale. It's finished in this really nice livery that I think throws back to the original AMG Mercedes race car. So I think this is a pretty special car. So I've reviewed this model previously. I had the Dunlop livery SLS GT3, so I still have that video listed up on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested in seeing what that version looks like, feel free to watch that video. But this is more or less the exact same model. So I'll start up with the overall, quality of this model in general. Obviously, as you can see, it's finished in this really nice gloss red, silver wheels on black interior, and we just have this pretty nuts livery on the car that I think looks pretty good. This is one of my favorite liveries, so I might be a little biased. So we'll start off at the front of the car, and I'm probably not going to go through every single one of these stickers. I'll just show you the quality of them. But I'll cover the main parts. So the regular Mercedes badge up there does look pretty good. And then coming down here, the grille honestly is not the best because as you can see, it's just all plastic mesh. But I think the detail of it looks pretty decent. The Mercedes star up there, it also does look really good. The rest of this is just kind of finished in chrome and a silver color as well. I'm moving down here, obviously a huge splitter up here and some pretty big canards. Honestly, as you can see, it gets pretty dusty, but what is cool is all this is carbon fiber. But there's one caveat to it, that it is the cheap carbon fiber, kind of like the stuff that Maisto uses on their models. So it's kind of the textured carbon fiber, even though the weave is really small, I will say. I mean, it's really not even coming out on camera that well, but they tried a little bit, but obviously it's not like anything too crazy and pretty cheap, honestly. Also, before I go into a little bit further, I paid, I think, $65 or $70 for this model, which I think is absolute incredible value. I mean, you get a crazy livery, I mean, pretty decent details as I'll go through it, and just honestly something that stands out among a lot of other model cars. I mean, you put these next to some of the cars you're seeing right here, I mean, this thing just stands out a mile away. So yeah, pretty good deal in my opinion, but I'll keep moving on. So the headlights, I think they're pretty decent. They use pretty clear glass on this one, and so it looks really nice. As you can see, kind of the daytime running light strips in there, and then also the high beams, they look pretty good. Moving on, there are kind of some open hooks or some open latches for the front of the car. So nice little detail there. I think the wheels themselves came out very nicely. Obviously they're finished in this really nice silver, and they are center lock wheels, and we had a nice little Dunlop stickers on the tire, which look pretty decent. What's going on in there? There are looks like slotted brake calipers, and then another silver brake caliper. Sorry, I don't know if I said that right, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. As you can see, there's some logos on the brake caliper itself, but yeah, pretty nice little feature. Moving down, they have the exhaust tailpipes coming out of the side of the car, and then there's a pretty big air vent, which I don't think there is any details in there to really note. I think they probably just use plastic behind there, so it's a big hole, but you don't really get to see much through there. But it's nice that they added that. So moving down the side, as you can see, that has kind of the more accentuated side skirts and fenders right here. There isn't a little air intake right here that I think cools the brakes, but it looks pretty decent. I think there is kind of more use of this kind of cheap fake carbon fiber plastic on the side of the car for the side skirts. But I think it presents pretty fairly, and they don't really stick out that far, so you don't really notice them. Obviously, the livery is all the way down the side of the car. We have the name of it right there, and then a bunch of stickers that are pretty clear, honestly, in the detail. I think they did a pretty good job putting them on there, because they're nice and crisp. Moving on to the side, The rear wheels are just a little bit bigger than the front, as you can see, as in the tire wall. So that's a pretty accurate feature, and I think that looks pretty good. Up here we have the fuel filler cap, I believe, and then the glass that surrounds it also looks pretty clear. So DHL sticker up on there on the front window, and I forgot to cover there some side vents or some hood vents up here that again are just the fake mesh. And this is a non-opening model, if you guys didn't know that. So pretty much all Minichamps that have been coming out lately are these fully sealed models. And so, you know, you can take that like as you know, if you like them, you know, great. But a lot of people out there don't like these fully sealed models. But I think they look pretty nice just sitting on the shelf. So coming back around, the rear end of this car absolutely looks incredible, nice and chiseled, and then just really wide hips back there. I think the taillight detail themselves looks pretty decent and looks like they put some effort into that. But the rest of the diffuser itself, I mean, as you can see, there's a huge diffuser in the back there. Some more air vents in the back, but that's just, you know, as you can see, just a black, you know, fill-in right there. So not really that great looking, but, you know, from a distance or whatever, you know, it looks pretty decent, I suppose. There's another Mercedes badge at the trunk, and then just a bunch of stickers wrapped all around. And that kind of brings me to the wing. As you can see, blackfalcon, excuse me, .com, and on the top a huge DHL logo. So this thing looks just absolutely nuts, to be honest. So on the other side of the car, though, as you can see, there's like 2 fuel filler caps, and then I forgot to cover there also is a little air vent that kind of comes through the back, and it's actually sculpted pretty nicely in a detail I haven't really noticed before, and I think it's just kind of hard to see. But as you can see, there's a little vent that comes straight down here and then leads into the rear of the car, which I think is a really nice feature. I'm going to go into the back a little bit. So as you can see the roll cage through there, and it's painted kind of like a silver color, I think. Kind of, yeah, it's like a silver, but it looks fairly decent. There is a nice little tail light back there, I suppose, and it's really reflective actually, so that looks pretty cool. Yeah, so this is just another view through the rear, and you can see this roll cage pretty good on camera, and it's like that in person as well. So now I can kind of finally get into the interior of this car, and as you can see, it's very hard to see inside because everything is black. They did take out a seat on this side, so maybe I can show you guys through the front that it's just really hard to see. So give me a second and I'll try to fix that. So on this side, as you can see, there's just one big bucket seat. On the other side, you can't really see much in there. There are some buttons in the gauges, and honestly, you can barely even make out the detail in the steering wheel. So I just won't even really show you guys that much more, because as you can see, it's just really hard to see. And I think in person, though, yeah, you can see it a little bit better, but, you know, it's not anything like, oh my gosh, look at that interior, because you can't really see it that well. Try to give you a little bit more view of that. But yeah, you know, pretty cool model though, despite its downfalls of it not being an opening car, and just, you know, you can't see into the interior very well. There if you can, if you're sitting at different angles, but you know, it's not that crazy of a nice interior. But yeah, I just think a pretty good looking model overall, and I just think for the value, I mean, I've picked up one of these models for less than $60 before, and if you can get anything close to that, I would recommend it. I just wouldn't say this thing is worth necessarily more than $100 if they ever get to that point. I mean, there's so many other better models out there, and maybe these are a lot more than $100 at this point, but I'd say a fair price to pay is around $70 to $80 for this car. If you can get one for that price, then you're doing pretty good. So yeah, I would give it maybe I'd give it enough to give it maybe a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, just because I like the spec so much. But you know, feature wise, not great. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.